take a look at your worksheet 7.3 on completing the square. So on this problem, what this allows us to do is to take any equation that's in general form and not only put it into vertex form, but then we can take it a step further and actually solve for our zeros. So remember on our first step, how we show you how we do this is we take the number, move it to the other side, and you can see how I kind of drew the arrow really big because I'm going to leave some space. So when I subtract the 27, I'm going to leave a little space here and say it equals negative 27. So how does completing the square work? When it's just an x squared, it's really nice and easy because all you have to do is take half the middle term, 6. Take 6 and square it, 36. Remember, when you do that, you're balancing equations. If I add 36 to one side, I have to balance it out and add 36 to the other side. So the reason why you're doing this, because factors now of 36 that add up to 12 are x plus 6 and x plus 6, or x plus 6 quantity squared. Negative 27 and 36 add up to 9. Now you almost have it basically in vertex form. If I move the 9 back over, it's in vertex form. But now what we can do is simply solve this and find our zeros. So I take the square root of both sides. X plus 6 equals, don't forget, plus or minus 3. Subtract 6. So x equals negative 6 plus or minus 3. Well, negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. Negative 6 minus 3 is negative 9. So one of the things you can always do once you get your answers is plug it in and check. I'll just do that real quick here. Negative 3 squared is 9. 12 times negative 3 is minus 36. Plus 27. That does equal 0. Check. Do the other one. Negative 9 squared is 81. Yep. 12 times negative 9 is negative 108. Plus 27. Well, 27, 81 is 108. Subtract 108 does equal 0. Check. I know my answers are correct. Sometimes the answers, though, unfortunately don't turn out to be beautiful numbers like number 1. So number 2, same process. Add the 26 to the other side. So I have x squared plus 6x, leave some space, equals 26. So let's complete the square now. Half of negative 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. So that's what I have to add to both sides. So this now factors to x plus 3 quantity squared equals 36. Or not 36, 35. 26 and 9 is 35. Wrote 35 and said 36. What a surprise. Alright, square root both sides, plus or minus. So x minus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 35. 35 is 5 times 7, but doesn't simplify to perfect squares, so we just leave it as such. Add 3 to both sides, so x equals 3 plus or minus the square root of 35. Alright, number 3 and number 4. These are a little more challenging because they got a number in front, which adds an additional step and something you need to watch out for. So first thing I need to do, though, is just like I've done in the past, move the 65 over to the other side. So when I do, I get a positive 65. Now I can't just take half of 30 squared and work because I don't have a leading coefficient of x squared. So I have to factor out 5 out of both terms. So when I do have x squared plus 6x equals 65. So I pulled out the 5 out of the 5x squared and the 30x. Now I can complete the square. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Now I added 5 sets of 9. So when I go to balance it, I actually have to put 45 on the other side. So now this is 110. 65 and 45 is 110. Still have this 5 out here, but this now x squared plus 6x plus 9 factors to x plus 3 quantity squared. Now I just need to finish solving it. Divide both sides by 5. So x plus 3 quantity squared equals, 5 goes in there 22 times. So now take the square root of both sides. So square root and square root, plus minus. Move this down a little bit. So I have x plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 22. It's only 2 times 11, neither are perfect squares. So subtract the 3, x equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 22. Alright, same process with number 4. Move the 21 to the other side, so I have 7x squared plus 14x equals 21. Factor out the 7. So when I pull out the 7, I have x squared plus 2x. Now complete the square. Half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is just 1. I'm not adding 1, I'm adding 7 times 1, or 7 to the other side. So now this factors to 7 in parentheses x plus 1 quantity squared equals, add these together, 28. Now continue to solve, divide both sides by 7, so x plus 1 quantity squared does equal 4. Square root both sides, square root plus minus, so I get x plus 1 equals plus or minus 2. Subtract the 1, subtract the 1, x equals negative 1 plus or minus 2. Well, negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Alright, that completes the front side. Let's take a look at the back side. Back side has more that have a leading coefficient of x squared, and then once you have to factor that piece, the number out later on. So on this first one, or number 5, move the 51 over. So 14x equals 51, leave a little space. Half of 14 is 7. 7 squared is 49. So I'm going to add 49 to the other side. So factors of 14 that add, or factors of 49 that add up to 14 are x plus 7, x plus 7. Hence why we're completing the square. 51 and 49 make 100. So now square root, plus minus. So I have x plus 7 equals plus or minus 10. Subtract 7, subtract 7. So x equals negative 7 plus or minus 10. Well, negative 7 plus 10 is 3. Negative 7 minus 10 is negative 17. Number 6. Same process here. Move the 18 to the other side. So I have x squared minus 10x equals negative 18. So half of negative 10 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25. So I'm adding 25 to both sides. So now this factors down to x minus 5 quantity squared. Negative 18 and 25 is 7. Square root both sides. So x minus 5 equals plus or minus the square root of 7. Add 5. Oops. So x equals 5 plus or minus the square root of 7. 2 left. Alright, number 7, number 8, this is where we have those numbers in front. But still the same process. 8x squared plus 16x, leave a lot of space, move the negative 42 to the other side by adding 42. Now, this is where you have to factor out 8 first. So when I do, 8 goes into 16 only 2 times. Now I'm going to complete the square. Half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. To balance it, 1 times 8, I'm actually adding an 8 to the other side. So now this equals 8, x plus 1 quantity squared equals, if I add those together, I get 50. Ooh. This isn't going to turn out to be as nice as the previous ones. So I'm going to divide both sides by 8. So as I do, I have x plus 1 quantity squared equals 50a's. Does at least, they do each have a 2 in common. So I can reduce that to 25 fours. Whoa. 25 and 4 are both perfect squares. So this one's actually does turn out at least a little bit nicer, because when I square root and square root plus minus, I have x plus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 25 is 5, square root of 4 is a half. So now I'm going to subtract 1, so x equals negative 1 plus or minus 5 halves. So x equals, well, negative 1 plus 5 halves is 3 halves. Negative 1 minus 5 halves is negative 7 halves. So that one gave you some nice, interesting fractions. All right, last one. So I have 2x squared minus 8x, move the 6 over to the other side, becomes negative 6. Factor out the 2, whoops. I gotta hit it one more time there. So I have x squared minus 4x, leave a little space, equals negative 6. Half of negative 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. But to balance it out, I actually have to add 8 to the other side. Now, the 2 is on the outside. Factors of 4 that add up to negative 4 are x minus 2, x minus 2. Negative 6 and 8 is 2. Wow, lots of 2's on this one. So now, divide both sides by 2. So now I have x minus 2 quantity squared. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Square root both sides. Don't forget plus minus. So x minus 2 equals plus or minus 1. Add 2, add 2. Right now, x equals 2 plus or minus 1. So x equals 3 or x equals 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. All right, that takes care of worksheet 7.3.